Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hey guys, it's Aaliyah here.
And Joe.
Welcome
To the Aaliyah and Joe Show.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Would that be a good?
Get your Leah and Joe's.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. You gotta put that back in.
Do you want me to just put that in every time now?
Yeah, absolutely. Aaliyah, that shit is bomb. I love it. So, happy Sunday.
Yep, it's always Sunday.
It's always Sunday somewhere.
Yeah. People that say oh, I don't work on the weekends. Why not? I mean, we're not really working, I guess, but
I mean, I just had a quick little text.
Yeah,
and I have to work later on.
a day is a day, especially what you do too,
I work all the time.
Yeah.
Anytime I get hit up.
Problems can happen with people all the time, and they're going to hit you up.
24 hours, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Psychological things. And I guess it's just a mentality for maybe somebody that works at Walmart. They've been working 9 to 5 every day.
Well, I think there's a difference between a 9 to right. So
not so much at Walmart, but wherever.
If I worked for somebody else, right, and I knew I was going in there and there was a job responsibility and this is what I did and I can get that stuff done between the hours of 9 and 5 and understand something. I'm only working from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and please don't talk to me about shit for the rest of the time. Okay, I totally get that. However, my job is not like that, and so
it's for somebody that
I have to be available.
Yeah, that weekend. Not working on the weekends is for people that probably don't really like their job, I would assume.
I wouldn't say that.
Or maybe they maybe I
wouldn't say
again
that.
Way judgmental.
I think you're starting off very judgmental.
No, I'm always trying not to be. Actually.
I wouldn't say that at all. I would just say that I think that some people just, have jobs or careers that really, if anything, I'm saying allow them to, and I'm saying that in a positive way, to be honest, because although I do have breaks and I have days where nothing's going on, I have moments, you've seen me, where the whole day is half the day I'm on the phone because a crisis went down and this and that, right. And I have to figure it out and blah, 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 So I mean, but then there's individuals who actually have the luxury, I will say, of maybe they don't have to do that and they can take their weekends off, clock out, done deal.
Even a person that owns their own business or whatever, they could just decide they want to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and take the weekends off. They could be billionaires. Millionaires, it doesn't matter, right? And then that's just the structure that they've created for their lives.
You know what?
We've just created this world where it's just we kind of like what we do, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. That's true, actually, because I do believe that there are some clinicians out there that may not be as attentive as I think I am. And I'm only saying that not to give myself credit, but I'm saying that because now that as we're talking, I've spoken to some patients who have seen other therapists and they've hit me up on a Saturday or whatever, they're not texting me. And because they have an issue, they have something going on, it's a crisis. And I tell them all, if it is a situation that you really truly have, it's you've tried your support systems, you've tried the coping skills, you've tried, and you just are struggling and it's to that point, then you hit me up, Right. And I've had those situations. And when I tell them that, they're like, really? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's why I'm here. First, I'm giving you the opportunity to do it yourself. I don't want to just, fly in and enable you. That's not what I'm here for. Try and do it yourself. Try and get through it. But if shit goes down and it's serious, you need to hit me up. Much rather that.
Now, why is it that as parents, mm-hmm. to a 2-year-old, a lot of parents don't do that type of thing where they allow the child to try to figure it out instead of swooping in and figuring things out.
First of all, our child is, to my defense, guys, our child is not even 2 years old yet. She is a baby, and I still actually do let her do things by herself. However, sometimes, she's a baby.
Yeah, every night. Hold on, what did she do last night? It's like, Aaliyah put her in the chair and was gonna eat, and then the baby goes, and then she's like, "Oh, you want me to feed you?" And then she's like, and the baby hands her the fork, and it's this whole thing. When we know she can feed herself at any time, right? She knows how to do that. Yes. Oh, you don't want me to do it? Oh, you want grandma to do it? Okay. So the grandma comes running over from the living room. Yeah. I'm like, hold. She knows how to do it. Give her a moment. Let her flip out for a second, and then let her do it. And guess what?
My goodness.
And what happened? She started eating on her own.
First of all, she started eating on her own before you even said that. And then I noticed that she was doing that. So I pulled back and I was like, okay, she's doing it. Actually, let's just let her be. If she's doing it, I'm not going to be like, give me your fork, I'll feed you. I'll be like, go ahead, girl, feed yourself.
Right. But if she gives any little slight sign of like, then you're there.
Listen, all right.
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, and I feel like you're trying to set me up here, but I am going to tell you, though, is that I firmly believe, and this may sound whatever to some of you, but, like, this is not going to be the case when Soul is, like 10 or like it's good. Like, no, I'm not
she'll be able to feed herself when she's 10. Yeah, hopefully.
Like, I'm not going to give in every single second, because when she's 10, that shit is not going to be cute anymore. But it's cute right now.
But is this the beginning of her expecting you to help her on little things moving forward?
So yes, some would say yes, and I would say that myself. However, because I know myself and I know exactly how to work with this type of shit anyway, in my mind, I'm like, this is something that we're gonna get over. Like, this is not gonna be like how it's gonna be forever.
Or you just never start.
I'm not having it.
Or you just never start.
She's a baby. She's a baby.
Listen. Yeah, when she was a baby, we used to spoon feed her.
She's a baby still. She's not even 2.
She knows how to use a spoon, so we don't need to do that.
And when she's grown, when she's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I'm going to be like, girl, okay, you could do this.
Yeah,
more so when she's an adolescent, because that's like, get it together.
Okay. She could do it now.
She absolutely can, and she does. She does do it. You act like she doesn't do it at all, and I completely cripple her, which I don't.
Well, I don't know what you do when I'm not here, so.
If I crippled her completely, then we would have a different child.
Mm.
Our child is actually very independent.
Yes, she is.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that was a little segment for you parents out there. So I'm sure that people argue if you have kids, you may have conflict or, get into arguments with your partner or person who you're raising the child with, just about stuff like this, I get it.
The last thing I'll say about this is that, I think if you, I don't want to get too deep, but for us, it seems as though if you are just completely you and who you are and you do what you do when you're with her, and I am completely me and I do what I do, and we're not trying to create this whatever, it seems like it's already a good balance. Just because you and I essentially balance each other out, so she gets a little bit of.
She gets the best. She gets the best of both worlds, I think.
As long as she's hanging out with both of us an equal amount of time. Although I think she hangs out with you a little bit more than me.
She does. But time out for a second. You guys can't see this, but does this smudge right here in particular look like a penis with balls?
Oh my God, come on.
I'm serious. Does it not?
Well, it's on your phone going up to your face.
There's a smudge on the screen to my phone that literally looks like a penis with balls. That is the most amazing thing.
Not really, but okay.
Anyway. Before we do continue though with other things, I do want to highlight, I'm not sure if anyone who listens is a UFC fan, but if you know...
We stayed up till 2 in the morning last night.
If you know us, then you know that we are. And you also know that I go to sleep by like 9, and I was up until like 1:30 in the morning.
You held your own. We had the whole family over here.
Yeah.
And every one of us, except for your sister, I think, took like a little cat nap.
I didn't take a cat nap.
You did.
I absolutely did. My eyes were open the whole entire time.
Get out of here.
Listen, was I having moments where I was in the beginning stages of passing out in the event that I didn't have to stand up and get my wallet to fix my credit card info? Yes. I was repeating things that you were saying. Okay.
That was to get your credit card info. That was at the beginning before we even ordered it. This is what you're talking about?
These are the beginning stages of before I go to sleep. So I wasn't sleeping yet. I was in the beginning stages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But anyway, that fight, you guys, that whole card, insane. Fight of the night. Ortega and Volkanovski killed it. That fight was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and like Volkanovski even said when he was being interviewed, he was like, honestly, like I thought I was going to lose my belt. Like at that moment, like Brian Ortega,
he had a couple submissions on it. Anybody else would have been done. But
Volkanovski's a beast.
Yeah.
And I do have to give credit where credit's due. Did I want him to really keep the belt? Not necessarily. I really love Brian Ortega, specifically because I was watching The Ultimate Fighter. I've never seen Ortega fight because I got into UFC a little later on, but that kind of drew me in, and then I'm really into just his swag, everything. But I do have to give credit to Volkanovski. He's amazing.
Yeah, all the fights were good. It was the
Nick Diaz.
Return of Nick Diaz.
Let's just hit that one for a second. I do have to talk about that.
I saw we were watching the Embeddeds before, and I was like,
well, kind of moving. Tell people what Embeddeds are, because people don't.
Oh, the Embedded is like, every day there's like kind of like a 10-15 minute
during
video.
fight week.
Yeah, prior to the fight, they just follow the fighters around and kind of get to know what they're doing that week. Anyways, Nate Diaz, he just kind of was moving kind of like an old Nick Diaz seemed like he was like kind of moving like an old man a little bit, and I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I saw, and again, same with Brian Ortega, guys. I know Nate Diaz quite well, which is his brother, but I've never seen Nick fight because Nick got suspended, like 6 years ago or something like that, 5 years ago.
Yeah, for marijuana.
Due to marijuana, which is like...
And then while he was suspended, they allowed marijuana over the past year, and he was still suspended for 6 years.
It's so stupid. So I'd never seen him fight, but I was excited to. I watched his past fights, and I was really impressed by his past fights. So I was like psyched to see this. And I kind of was really like watching the press conference and watching everything, watching like the weigh-ins and everything happen. I don't know. I don't think he was really mentally or emotionally really there. I also think there's some other things going on there. It was very interesting, just his mannerisms, how he speaks, everything, and not drug use at all. Like, I just think that there's something else going on. He had a lot of anxiety, I can sense, and that could have also been a lot of why he was speaking the way he was speaking. I mean, he's very socially awkward. But I mean, respects to him as well. I think he still did a great job, even though he did not win that fight. But he did a great job. Good fight, and the Diaz brothers are and will always be the shit.
Now, skipping to a more important point, I actually chose all the winners last night. Prior to,
oh my god,
yes, I chose Robbie Lawler. I said,
Valentina. Everyone knew she was going to win,
right? And I took Volkanovski, and if I did the trifecta, I would have crushed it. But I ran out of Bitcoin within the betting realm there a long time ago.
Free so I stopped betting. Valentina's a beast. If you guys don't know, you need to watch her fight. She's insane.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of my UFC.
Yep.
Want to get in? Want to get into it?
Let's get into the nitty gritty here.
So there's a little story to how we got to this topics, actually, because I did write these down. But basically, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a podcast, if you heard a while back ago, where we were talking about, actually, no, we didn't talk about it, but I had mentioned that there are people in the world who know Joe who seem to think that Joe is a narcissist or selfish or a martyr or whichever.
Yeah.
And so we've had lots of talks about this, the whole nine. I do not believe that, and I also stated nor do my other clinician friends, because I'm emotionally attached to you. So it's, you know, I don't, what I say is kind of, you know.
I no longer believe that is possible
it's
either.
Just not.
There was like a question in my head for a while, like, am I? Is it? But now I'm
no,
like,
obsessive compulsive, yes, but anything else, no. So anyway, and anxiety, yes, right. But so anyway, so there's been some stuff that went down, blah blah blah, him and, you know, family or whatever. And due to, I think that some people, if you guys have listened to the podcast, you also know that Joe has very, you know, you like to talk, you like to understand where people are coming from, you like to challenge what people say, because a lot of times when people speak about certain topics, they don't like to go really deep into it and they stop. Joe likes to get you going. Okay, well, why is that? Okay, well, why is that? Okay, well, why is that? And I think that either irritates people or it gets people flustered, or the brain is just like, this is too much to compute, I can't continue, you know, and then people get annoyed. And then then they shut down, they get annoyed, they act like you're being self-righteous, and they act like you're, like, you know, imposing your beliefs, and you're not, you're just solely trying to have a conversation.
Right.
So,
like, who wants to have? Well, I mean, I guess there are plenty of people.
There are people because we're going to get there.
But I'm like, I don't even want to have a conversation
if it's not going to be a deep conversation.
Right. We're talking about stuff like that.
Right, and there are people in the world who are like that. Actually, you know, like there are people who are just like, who I think in society get viewed in this negative way, either socially awkward or selfish or this or that. And I don't even think it's about that. I think it's just that they just like to have more like substance, meaning, you know, conversations. And that's fine too, right? So anyway, throughout this process, there was some conflict with family, and now there's no more talking, basically, between that person, because they feel that, you know, Joe is a very stressful person to be around, and his views are too much, and he's selfish, and blah, 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 blah. So as I was speaking to Joe about this, and I was really processing this, because I'm like, I was really actually offended as well, and pissed off about that whole entire thing. And I still am really annoyed by it. Not pissed, but annoyed. And I'm like, okay, so would you rather then, this is the question that came up in my head because of this. I was like, so then you want to, or would much rather be around people who solely have the same views as you.
Hold on, not me, right?
No, not you, your family member, right? You'd rather be around people who only have the same views as you, who have the same personality as you, who have the same everything as you, and that's what you want to surround yourself with. And then I was like, people want that? And then I was like, why? That would be so boring. And then I was like really thinking, I was like, imagine being in a world where every person was the same and had the same personality traits or the same political views or the same, I would be so bored.
But I had mentioned to you that most people do this subconsciously. I don't think that not everybody, but I mean, there are people that purposefully go do that. But
who gravitate towards right.
They do because it's comfortable, it's easy. Right. They don't have no conflict. All right, it's like, okay, this person likes to just talk to at this point to go not so deep. Right. I don't have to think too much. And, you know, they believe in the same things I believe in, so there's never any arguments.
So there's avoidance,
but you're not really ever learning anything. You're not growing as an individual. Like, really, not really, because. What do they say? The 5 people you surround yourself, you become, right?
Right.
So, you know, I guess that's comforting to people, and that's fine.
Safe. It's secure.
It's safe. It's secure. But it is what it is. If that's what you want to do, fine. I have no problem with that. But I'm not that. I know, like, when me and Aaliyah met, like from that point, I knew that like, all right, if we get married and we have kids and stuff, like she is constantly changing. I am constantly changing, and we need to allow each other to change. I mean, that's an even deeper part of it,
Yeah.
you know, but like, yeah, I'm attracted to people who are evolving and changing and wanting to learn from each other. And, you know, I want to hear all when I say I want to talk to somebody who is like adamant about a vaccine and like, you know, maybe a Joe Biden supporter,
Right.
like dead, like whatever Joe says is what I'm doing. I really want to talk to them. And I'm not being sarcastic about like, I just want to talk to them and bust their balls. No, like I want to understand why they think the way they think.
Right.
And I'm going to ask the deep questions, probably questions that person
Uncomfortable with.
doesn't even know.
The answers to, yeah.
Why do you like Joe Biden? They'll say, well, he's X, Y, and Z. Well, why do you think that those traits are good? Well, because, and you know, it's basically
we're going.
at that point they're like, and then they get
annoyed, yeah.
Third level, they're like, fuck you, I just like them. You know?
Right, totally.
Like,
Now, I will say though, like, so in terms of gravitating to people who are like you or like-minded, so that's the thing.
There's
Obviously,
nothing wrong
we
with
all
that.
no, well, but
We
I
all
think
do it.
everyone does that, right? So, for example,
I
like,
do it.
right, okay. So, let's say, choose in my life to not be around people who are negative. Right? That's a choice, right? And everyone's allowed to have that choice. So that's basically what your family member was saying. He was saying that he has a choice to, be around people or not. And he's choosing to not be around you because he feels that you're stressful. Okay, that's fine. But my thing about the situation is not so much that he's making a choice to not be around you because he thinks you're stressful because of the political views, etc. My thing is the inability and lack of willingness to really have a conversation with his own family member, right?
Yeah.
And really get into like the core of really like, okay, but like what's really going on here because I'm confused still, you know? And
Right.
really actually talk about it and try and have a conversation about it. Like that's my thing is like it like in order for us to grow, I believe also as a society, right? We need to have conversations.
Yeah, you can't just
We
be
need
like, I
to-
don't like you.
Right? We need to talk about things. Like if you're not talking, you're not growing. If you're not having a conversation and really getting to understand someone else's, you're not learning, and you're doing a complete disservice to yourself because you're avoiding, and you're avoiding real deep things that actually may also, in fact, be inside of you. But yet, it's so easy to see it in other people, right? And more difficult to see it in yourself.
Right. It's always more difficult to see it in yourself, especially if you're not really aware of yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's where this whole self-awareness, I mean, there's so many layers to this.
Right. It gets really deep.
There's so many layers to this because self-awareness is the truth, you guys, and it's basically this whole entire thing that we're talking about, right? So that's a big thing.
I mean, and then this kind of leads into this whole censorship thing on social media too, right? Like they're just, instead of like everybody just communicating on social media or like somebody, I don't know what the hot topics are right now, but like instead of like Twitter or Facebook just like shutting their page down or whatever, let them talk. Who cares? Like let people let dialogue continue, and then maybe they'll talk so much that person's idea will come out to be not true or come out to be true, and then it changes people's way of thinking, you know, like who knows?
Yeah.
Like just let it go.
Right. And then if you don't want to follow that person, right, or if
Yeah,
you don't want to
just
speak to them, then
don't.
you just don't, you know? And that's basically it. But anyway, I mean, it was...
That's a whole other level. But
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if people decide that that's what they want to do and they want to isolate themselves, like, I guess it's just comfortable. You know, it's easy. It's the easy way, because the hard way is actually having the conversation, expressing what you're upset about, why you're upset about it, why this makes you feel a certain way. I guess people don't want to talk about that stuff, and they would rather just live their whole lives not talking to a family member as opposed to actually figuring out what the actual source of the problem is.
Or just a friend or anyone in general, right? Because now we're just generalizing this, like, because I'm sure that many people have been through something like this, right? Where you have a conflict with a friend or family or someone, and there's someone in that situation that just like isn't willing to really actually get into it and have a conversation. So they would much rather avoid than actually talk about it, Right. And so that's like for anyone who's really gone through something like that.
And by the way, it's not like I overly expressed like, hey, like I was even willing to not talk about any topic he wanted just for the sake of like family and my daughter.
Right. And just coming together right.
For a barbecue or like Christmas or something. Cause I don't want to mess that up. Like I want our family to be together. Right. So, but he was just like, no, I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, well, that's unfortunately how
actually,
you do it, so.
Not to be like, petty, but the actual statement that was also said was, I did not have a choice in, I guess, choosing my family. So he feels that,
Right.
Which, whatever.
Well, for me, and then Leah's always asking, she keeps asking me, are you like sad? Or what did you do? You were asking me if I was like upset, right?
Because
I'm not really upset.
Because let's tell the people what happened. Because the statement that was made towards you in this message was, I'm embarrassed by you. Actually, I'll state, and frankly, I'm embarrassed by you. And that, man, and again, we're all different people, but I got to tell you something. I would never say any, like, even if I had someone in my life who I thought that about, never.
The ironic,
would I say some shit like that? Like, I would just put it in a different way, or like, but like, that's so like, ugh, like that's like a really hurtful thing to say, I think, to anybody.
The ironic thing is that person would be embarrassed that we're sitting here talking to the public or whatever about this topic, even though we're not mentioning his name, right? Like he would be embarrassed right now. You know why? Because I'm open to having open conversation and speaking about the truth in whatever it is, and I'm willing to alter different ways of how I am or whatever conversation, because I place family as a priority. And if I want to have my family together, then I'm willing to not talk about certain things during those moments, just to have the family together, right?
Yeah,
and anyways, so
I keep asking if you're sad because for me, I'm like, that's a really that's like a oof. That's
I really feel sad for him because he's missing out on time with my daughter, time with us. It's a big waste of time, really, because inevitably, hopefully, if he's like learning about himself and wanting to evolve as a person 20 years from now, and unless he continues to, I guess, surround himself with yes men and people that like everything that he does, I guess I'm hoping, maybe he'll come around. Anyways, I continuously said, the door's always open. Come by whenever you want. Call me whenever you want. Whenever you change your mind, it's up to you. I'm willing to sit around and talk, have the conversation. I'm even willing to not have a conversation and just have family
and just have fun and just be, and then just kind of pick a better moment to maybe kind of, get into it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so I wonder actually if anybody has experienced something similar to this out there where you are the person that really actually, wants to have the conversation. Actually, you are the person that wants to have the conversation, or you're the person that wants to avoid.
Well, the person that wants to avoid the conversation would never
even talk about this, right? That's true. I know. Yeah. They would never say anything because they're like, nope, not me, not talking about it. Right. So, yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, we're essentially kind of doing the same thing, but I'm still open. Like, yes, we surround ourselves with people that want to have the conversation, want to talk about their problems and want to solve them and come to and be happy and fluent with everybody, right? That's the people that we're attracting. And there are other people that don't want that and they want to isolate and they don't want to attract
and
that.
So those
and
are the people that he's attracting, right, exactly. So everyone's attracting their own type of people, and that's, and but for me, it does.
I'm open to both types of people.
It does still bring me back to like the whole, man, and I know I've said this before, like I can't imagine living, like, I can't even imagine having the same type of friends. Now, needless to say, I will say that I've noticed a pattern in the friends that I have. Mm-hmm. And the one pattern that I have noticed is that we all have anxiety. Like, every single friend that I've gravitated towards that is a best friend of mine, we all have anxiety to some degree on some level, because anxiety is on a spectrum, you know? Like, legit, like, whether it's like your thoughts, obsessiveness, this, control, blah, 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 blah. Someone's got something. And so I've noticed that. So that's me gravitating to, I guess, you know, something that is familiar to me, right? So I understand that. But in terms of like views and stuff and beliefs, I do feel like we have the same but also different, like you know, like I clash with you sometimes. But again, that's cool to me because I get thinking.
Yeah. Like I think I tend to put out into the world, like if I have thought about things myself or whatever, and I feel as though I'm like lacking some part of what I need in my life, I put that energy out there, and then I start attracting whatever that person. Like a few years ago, it was lawyers. I was like, I don't know any lawyers, and I could really use one right now or whatever. And now I have, like, no joke, like I've dealt with more lawyers. I don't want lawyers. I want less lawyers now. But you know, whatever I'm looking for is what I put out there, and then that's what I attract.
Laws of attraction, quantum physics. We've talked about this.
Right. So in your case, if you attract other people that have anxiety, I mean, then you're putting out
my
anxiety,
yeah,
right? But what you should be doing is maybe putting out like a thought of like wanting to resolve the anxiety, and maybe that's where I come in. That's right.
Which is interesting though, because again, all of my friends, everyone has such different levels of anxiety, and I've noticed that throughout my life of just like managing my anxiety and working on it, etc. Each time, let's say I do meet someone new, it's a different level. That's like, it's always a different level. Like
and like you can kind of tell them something about.
Yeah, it's like we'll learn from each other, right? Like so it's not like I'm gravitating to the same people who are on the same level, let's say, as my anxiety, but it's like cool because everyone's at a different level, so therefore I still get to learn and they get to learn.
So maybe it's like some type of anxiety that you've experienced in the past that they haven't,
right? And I'll be like, oh my god, I used to have that, right, or something that, and then like that, yeah.
And then yeah. Well, that's always good too, you know. But you know, and if you're insecure about your anxiety, you wouldn't express that, you wouldn't talk about it, then you would never learn and figure it out and have a higher level or lower level of anxiety moving forward, right? Yeah. But that's what we're talking about. It's like learning, like.
No, yeah, you got to bring the anxiety. You got to. I mean, if anybody has anxiety, really, guys, like, first of all, let's be clear here. I feel like, and I don't know numbers in terms of like percentage wise, but I want to take a guess and just be like, based on my patients, like 80%, you know, and I'm probably being nice with that percentage of people have anxiety. It is common.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the world now. I mean, there's all kinds of things to be anxious about.
Tons.
Yeah. But I do think that this, you know, this is our kind of like microcosm of this, but this can be spread across all of culture of like, hey, you know, maybe instead of isolating and avoidance of things that we dislike or whatever, maybe be more open to it and possibly learn or teach somebody some new things through good communication and conversation, right? Whether it be social media or in person or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think the whole like just shutting it down because you don't like it is a selfish thing to do. I think. Explain
why it's selfish, because some people don't understand that.
I think it's selfish because you're basically saying my way is the right way, and even though there may be another way that exists, I don't want to hear it. And I'm just going to shut that down. And if I am Twitter or if I am the owner of Facebook or whatever, and you have the ability to do that, you are isolating not only like your way of thinking or your thoughts and stuff, you're just isolating the whole world because there's so many people on Facebook, right? So there's a lot of people that say,
hold on, because you got jumbled there. So would it be selfish and then ignorant? Because ignorant is someone who's also not willing to learn. They don't know and they're not willing to learn.
I guess if it's selfish, if it's like purposeful and they know that there's other alternative ways of thinking, but they just say, I don't want anybody to know that, so I'm just going to like shut this down. But it's ignorance if they just only care, they're not aware that there's another way of thinking, and they...
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
no, but ignorance is not only am I not aware of this, but I'm not willing to even learn about it. Yeah. That's the ignorance, you know? If I don't know about something, but I'm willing to learn about it, I don't think someone's ignorant. But if I really, truly don't know, but yet I'm now not even willing to learn or hear what the fuck you have to say, I'm not hearing.
Well, I always put like ignorant along with the phrase of like, you only know what you know, right? So if nobody around this person is saying that there is an alternative way of thinking, then that's just ignorance.
Right. Well, that's ignorant, right, in itself, because they just don't even know. They have no clue, like, about anything else.
Yeah, and it's not like a negative way of saying it either. It just is what it is. Like, you just don't...
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, actually, that it's not a negative thing. I'm actually so glad, because I feel like sometimes when people use that word, they use it in this, like, negative way, like, oh my God, you're so ignorant. And it's like, but I actually just don't know.
Yeah, never heard of that. Teach me, show me then. Like, and that's when you know if it's selfish or ignorance. I don't know. I'm just coming off the top of my head with this, but
what do you mean? How?
Like if say we were having a conversation about something, and I just have never heard of it before, and in that moment, if I just say I've never heard of that before, I only know this. That's the way it is. Then for me, that's like selfish and like not even like caring about learning or anything, right?
Well, because you're only focused on just what you know, and that's it, and what you know is it.
Yeah, and then ignorance would be like if you said something I didn't know, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. Well, I guess I'm just ignorant to it. Like, inform me. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Now that we're going deeper into this ignorant word, though, I feel like this word ignorant is used in so many different ways by different people.
It's used very negatively for the most part.
Well, yes, but I feel like, okay, so it could be used in that way, right? So like, oh my God, I didn't know that existed. Like, I'm really ignorant to it, so teach me, right?
Right.
But then it can also be used to the person that's like, that doesn't know, but then is also like, for example, someone who doesn't know about like ethnic hair, or just like, and they like, make a comment or whatever, or they say something, and it's so not the case at all. Right. And it's almost like a stereotype that they said, but they don't know anything else. And then the person's trying to correct them,
Right.
And maybe they're like wanting to learn or not wanting to learn. I don't know. For me, I still feel like the person that's not wanting to learn is a little less ignorant than the person, is more ignorant than the person who wants to learn.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Well, maybe there's another word. Maybe we're using. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of incorporating like selfish into this.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think there's a moment while having that conversation that you can choose to be open to some new information or not. And in that moment, if you choose not, I say that's kind of selfish.
Go on Instagram Live.
Okay.
And then see if anyone pops up, because I think this is actually a good thing to really get into. Ignorant versus selfish.
There's never any like fast way to just be like, all right, we're on.
I'll go on Instagram now. Right. Okay, ignorant versus selfish. So basically, we're having a discussion, and we just kind of went into this whole ignorant thing, and then selfishness popped up, and then now we're kind of discussing the way that the word ignorant can be used, and it's usually used in a negative way. And then we're also discussing the levels, selfishness, and how that can also tie into being ignorant. But as we're talking about this, we're getting a little like, I'm kind of like confused and kind of going deeper, because for me, so ignorance is just not knowing something. Okay, get that. Not having an understanding of it, not having awareness of something, you're ignorant to it. Okay. But for me, I was saying there's a difference between the person who is not aware of something and has no understanding of it, but
Open to learn.
is open to learn versus the person who's not aware, no understanding, and is not. And I consider that person to be more ignorant.
Yes, I mean, maybe that's just the word.
To be ignorant.
More
Maybe who's
ignorant.
more ignorant, right? Like the person's more ignorant than the other. I don't know. But I see that.
But I don't think the word ignorance has anything to do with like what you decide to do after you realize that you're ignorant.
No, it doesn't. You're right. I think that ignorance may just be focusing on the actual
That's where
fact that
I'm
you don't know anything else other than.
And that's where I'm bringing in, well, maybe selfish isn't the word either. Maybe it's, I don't know. Like what, the question is, what would you call somebody that is ignorant to some idea and then is informed and then still doesn't care about the new information that they just learned?
Right. Does that mean that they're just ignorant? Or is there another word for that because their action behind it
Right.
is now showing that now they don't give a fuck?
So now that they're aware that, oh, there is some other information that I was unaware of before,
Right.
but I'm still going to stay ignorant and not care.
So that's just ignorance.
That's just,
Is that just ignorance? But then there's
also
the person who
there's the person that is like, oh my God, I never knew that. I was clearly ignorant to this, but tell me more.
Right. Who's that person? Because I don't consider that person to be ignorant.
We could just be at the point of positive and negative, or open-mindedness and not open-mindedness at that point.
So maybe the person actually was ignorant to this.
Both of those people are ignorant.
Right.
Period. And then you move on after that
To the
because there's a
behavior,
decision
right.
to make at that point,
Right.
whether you're open-mindedness or not.
Right.
Open-minded or not open-minded.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I think we resolved
I think we resolved it. High five.
So then, this person that we were talking about, reverse
Right.
back, is clearly ignorant, which is fine.
But he thinks that you're ignorant.
And maybe we both are, which is why, but I'm the one that I want to find out
But
why.
I know, right? Like I know I'm ignorant to something.
And he does not.
Like
So now we're not, it's got nothing to do with ignorance or anything because we both are, and we just,
wait, hold
one's
on,
open-minded
hold
and the
on.
other one's
But
not.
the fact that he doesn't realize that he's not ignorant. Wait,
Oh,
hold
he
on,
might
hold on,
not.
hold
Yeah,
on.
we haven't had that conversation,
Right.
so we don't know
Maybe
if
he
he's
doesn't even know that he is ignorant.
Yeah.
So his
then-
ignorance is so high.
Can somebody be ignorant if they don't know that they're ignorant?
You're ignorant.
Well, then you're just ignorant.
You're not even self-aware of the
That's
fact
the
that you're
epitome.
fucking ignorant.
That's the epitome of ignorant, right?
Like-
Not even knowing.
Damn, I would hate to be that. Not hate to be that person, but like I'm just saying, like that person's on a whole other level. Because
But
it's
we
like,
listen.
you don't even
are-
know that you're ignorant.
You are that person. Depends on what the topic is.
I totally know I'm
There's all
ignorant to
kinds of
so many
freaking things that we don't know.
The only thing I know that I know in life is fucking therapy and clinical shit. Okay, like that's what I know.
But I think the conflict comes when you are in a situation where somebody is directly talking to you, and then you realize, or somebody makes you aware that you don't know what you don't know, right? And in that moment, you can choose. You can choose to know more, whether you believe it or not. You just like, hey, here's new information that I never even knew existed.
Right.
I'll listen to it. Doesn't mean I have to like go in that direction, but at least listen to it. It'll make you think maybe, or you're just like,
Fuck
nope, all I know is this, and this is how I've always known, and
this
I
is
don't
the
even,
right way.
and it doesn't even matter what you're saying here. I'm here, right? And that's the epitome of ignorance.
That's like ignorant. That's like ignorant. Maybe it's just based on how we say it. Ignorant.
I also don't believe that person is like a bad person or anything. They're just
No
playing
one's
it.
talking
They're
about
it's
bad. I hate
safe.
that word bad.
It's safe. It's very safe and comfortable.
It's protective.
Right. It could be an
Yeah,
instinctual.
ignorance is bliss, right? So if I
Right,
stay with
right,
what
right.
I know, and then I'm safe and I feel secure and shit like that, and that's cool.
Right.
I don't know.
But I mean, if they really thought about it, they would think like, how did I even come to these thoughts? You have to have learned it from some point.
Right.
Somebody taught you this. Some information came into your knowledge base
Messages
at some
sent
point.
to you, belief systems.
So at
all
some
that.
point you weren't ignorant,
Yeah.
but at some point now you are.
Yep.
And you choose not to go any further because it's too uncomfortable or hard or scared of what you might become or think or whatever.
Or scared of what you might even like learn, to be
Scared
honest.
to learn more.
I mean, I gotta tell you, the day that I actually, the day that I realized, and this is like years ago, this is maybe when I was like 22, right? And for all you guys who have listened, my dad, Milton, is like my guy, right? Like that's my dad, he's my boy, he's my guy, he's fucking Superman, right? Like in my eyes, right? But the day that I learned that he wasn't Superman, right? And I didn't want to learn that.
Mind you, this is like a year ago. Like, usually we all figure it out when we're like 20, 25, something like that maybe.
No, but that's when I first actually really kind of that's when it hit me. And then I was like, holy shit. But then I didn't really do anything with it because I was still kind of I was like, no, Milton's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really, you're right. It's like recently where I'm like, my dad is not perfect.
And you could go in multiple directions with that too. And you'd be like, fuck, everything he said to me was a lie or whatever. Or you can be like, all right, he's human. What? Maybe my thoughts that I had always thought are incorrect. And maybe I need to restructure how I think about this person.
Restructure how I think,
like
but,
it's like a bad thing
but also maybe I just have to be open to just, again, at that point in my life, when that was brought to my attention, prior to that, I didn't want to learn.
Yeah.
I did not want to see that my father was something other than a regular human being.
Like he
right?
makes mistakes or whatever.
Right. He was literally God to me. Like it was like, Milton's everything. He's perfect, right? And then as the time went on and my brain became more open, my perspective changed, I matured, got older, I started to realize
got older over the year.
Right. Shut up, man. God. He always calls me out. But anyway, got older, then I realized, like, hold up, like, I do have to really kind of learn about this because there's something off here. Like, he's not perfect. He's a person. And I get a lot of shit from him. And let me get into that, Like,
although the interesting thing is, I would assume that most people don't actually recognize these things about their parents until they're like, they've like kind of sorted themselves out, really,
or parents themselves, or
they're become parents themselves. So I would say anywhere between the ages of 30 and up, even anybody, maybe even in their 20s. If you're really self-aware,
if you're
in
really,
your 20s, you might be able to
I wasn't
be aware of it.
So yeah,
I think I kind of figured out my late 20s, early 30s. Yeah, that's probably a thing, right? And then people probably hang on to that, and then they have these like false thoughts of not just their parents, just ideas in general, right? And unless you're self-aware and you're confident in who you are and what you do, I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just like thinking as I'm talking right now. But
so he often does this. This is what happens. This is why he comes off as like really like all over the place, So if you guys are ever like, oh my God, just stay on track. This is why.
Yeah. So what I try to do with Aaliyah is I let her know before I go into something. I'm like, listen, I don't know anything about this. I'm going to think and talk through it right now. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes, and he has to tell me that because I actually also get annoyed by that. See, I understand why people also are annoyed by you.
I do too. I don't not understand that, but
yeah, I get
at the same time, like I also don't give off any kind of like mean or negative or like I hate the way you.
No, you're the most positive person ever. You're like super positive. We used to make fun of you behind your back when you in Florida. Me and my friends would text each other. We would text each other gifs of Pee Wee Herman, like on a bike that was just like, yay! You know how Pee Wee Herman was always like, life is great and everything's wonderful, right? That's basically what we would say about you. Minus all the other stuff that Pee Wee Herman did, because there were other things.
So once again, this is why it's like difficult for me to like see somebody like thinking that I'm like this like person that causes other people stress and all this other stuff.
No, you're so nice that it annoys me sometimes. That's how nice you are.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like, fucking stop being like so nice.
Which leads me to believe that this person doesn't want to even get to know themselves because maybe subconsciously they know through a conversation with me that it's all going to lead back to him, really.
Anybody who has a conversation with you, a deep conversation, needs to understand that if you have a conversation, see the difference between, this is so funny because I'm the actual therapist, Joe isn't, but yet you can have a conversation with me outside of therapy and you would not even know I'm a therapist. I will not pressure, I will not challenge, I will not nothing. Tell me what you're saying and let's move on unless you ask for my fucking help, okay? This guy is like, right, well, why is it did you think that your mom said that to you when you were 12? You know, like at a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because to me that shit's interesting. Like, but sometimes I think I'll think of something that person hasn't thought about themselves. So like, and then they're in this moment, like in a restaurant or whatever, and they haven't even thought about it. And then I kind of. And what do you think that makes them feel like? That they're just like, wow, this guy has more insight into...
No, a couple things. One, it could be like, this guy's a little bit much right now, right? Because first of all, I didn't ask for you to go there. I'm just having a conversation with you. And yet you're going there. Some people aren't ready to go there. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, if they're not ready to go there and you're going there, it can come off as like overwhelming and like you're like forceful, you know?
Well, I don't like if anybody gives me the vibe like, oh, they don't want to talk about it, I say, all right, well, I got that, fine.
No, I've seen you actually try and go further with people, and then when you ask the deep question, they get uncomfortable, and then you pick up on the uncomfortable energy, and then you'll see something like, oh wait, are you ready to go there? Is that too much? And then that's when it basically, you know,
right.
Like that's how it usually works with you. You don't pick up on it before you go there.
Yeah, rarely.
You need to pick up on it before you go there.
Because to me, it's like everything is intertwined, right? Like,
oh my God, I'm sorry.
It just is.
That makes you, but if you think about it, I can see how that makes you selfish to other people.
Oh, really? Why? How?
Because in that moment, right, you're not picking up on anybody else's cues of maybe not wanting to go into that conversation. All you're thinking about is how interesting this is and how much you want to get into it because you're curious as to what it is and you want it, right? But it's all about you in that moment, not really them. Holy shit, you're fucking selfish. Holy shit. Oh my gosh.
Maybe it just because really it's about, I want to know about them.
But you want to talk. No, you want to know. That is about you.
Yeah, but listen, if we're having a conversation about, oh God, I have to think of like some random scenario here. Say we're out with some friends and they're good friends, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, we're talking about, like you said, maybe the wife brings up, you know, my mom, man, she was really a pain in the ass back in the day or whatever. And she doesn't, you know, we don't really get along right now because, you know, wants to watch my daughter, but I don't really want her to. And then I'll say something like, well, why? What happened like when you were younger?
There we go. That's it. Okay. That's the question that he would ask.
But it's not like, but does that seem as though that's selfish for me to ask that question in that moment when she's talking about
this is actually perfect. I'm so glad we're having this fucking conversation right now on Instagram Live because the difference in that moment, right? I would sit there, I would listen to her. I would hear what she's saying. Now, again, I'm not in her head, but I'm also picking up on body cues, language, right? Facial expressions. And I'm getting an energy or a vibe as to whether or not she really wants to go that deep, okay? Some people can still express things and communicate things, but stay on a surface level with it. All she did was just simply say, hey, I don't let her watch my daughter, but whatever, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that she wants to fucking go into, well, what happened when you were 12 that you don't want to watch her daughter? That's a deep question. You know, now a question that could be asked in that moment, because she did open it up, if you were thinking that would be like, why? Like, is there like conflict between like you and your mom? Like, what's going on? Just to make it kind of like more like, you know, vague. Yeah. And then they can answer. If they want to go deep, they can answer. If they want to keep it surface.
No, I hear you. And I feel like I've gotten a little bit better with that. I don't think I would have said that unless there was like, I try, in my way, I feel like I am like doing what you're saying. But you're right. There have been times.
You don't, because there have been times.
There have been times.
There have been times. You don't do it all the time.
Right.
But, and yes, you have gotten better with it, but there's still times where you do that. But I do believe that that's probably a piece of what this person is talking about. And maybe, I guess, some other people who think that you're selfish is like shit like that. I never saw that until right now. I just actually made that connection.
Well, honestly, I feel bad. Listen, I feel bad. I still feel bad for people like that because what's really, think of the real deep, big picture here, right? If that person did have, all right, this is all hypothetical here too, obviously. But this hypothetical person, she fucking has some issues with her mom. She doesn't know why. It's like, oh, they just don't get along, right? But she's talking about it in public at a restaurant with us. So, all right, for me, you just opened the door. You're trying to resolve this, and you're searching for somebody who is willing to go with you down this path to resolve this. Maybe not in that moment, you don't realize, but if you're saying these things to other people too, and everybody knows that you don't get along with your mom, blah, 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 you're putting out the energy of like, please, somebody come help me figure this out, whether it's a therapist, maybe they're too proud to go to therapy or whatever. And listen, I agree. I'm not the one to be that person. But if the universe brings people together like that, and that's the way it's like supposed to happen, and I am the way that I am, and I'm not doing it in a harmful way or whatever, and if that person, like, listen, if in that moment, and I said, well, what happened? And then she was just like, that's kind of personal. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I feel really bad. I didn't mean to. I was just having a conversation. This is how I talk. You know what I'm saying? So I feel bad for that person because they have hurt, they have pain, they have something that needs to be communicated and resolved, and then something that can be resolved. And if they're just holding it back, that's affecting all kinds of things in their life. Like, look at this hypothetical person. They don't have a babysitter because they just don't get along with their mom. Maybe the mom wants to watch the baby, but they can't. I mean, this was kind of like a situation with you and your mom earlier on, like a few years back, right? Now, today, because you had all these conversations and talking to whoever about whatever, and then having communication with your mom and talking about those deep, hard things, do you feel better off now, or would you rather go back to the way that it was?
No, ew, gross. I never want to go back to the way.
Right. So, in the long run, saving lives.
Your selfishness is saving lives. Wow.
I mean, I guess so. Fine. If that's it, listen. And if this person that we've been talking about was able to communicate that to me, I would really feel bad that that's the way that they
See, but this is the thing, is that people aren't. There are some people in life, and again, this is fine, that aren't willing to have this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just figured out why other people could see you as selfish on that level. I've seen other things where I'm like, okay, I could get why some people can, right? But like this, yeah, like that, now that makes sense to me. But I mean, look how long it's taken me.
Well, right? Shit. I mean, listen, if that is the thing, like I can incorporate this in my life immediately, because I agree with you, and you're right. And I think I need to scan the situation a little bit more thoroughly before going deeper.
Read the room.
Yeah. But man, I'll tell you what, inside, I'll be dying. I'll be like, oh my God, I wonder what happened with her.
And you actually...
She wants to talk about it. I know.
Right. And you actually don't read the room, because again, there was an example, I don't know if I told you guys in past episodes, but there was an example of this, of Joe's selfishness, where I have an aunt. She had just found out that she found her biological father, right? And she didn't want anybody in the family to know yet, so only like 3 people knew or something like that, right? So we live in Miami at the time, and we have a gathering. So I have like my aunts, uncles come over, stuff like that. So she comes over, and she comes with like another aunt and like some other uncles of mine. The minute they come in the house,
none of them know about this.
None of them know.
Only we know,
right?
And she knows.
So the minute they come in the house, Joe goes to welcome everyone, and he's like, "Hi, blah blah blah," and in front of everyone, he tells my aunt, "Oh my God, well, congratulations on finding your father." Da 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 da. And everyone's like,
Oh, hold on. No. Everybody did know, but they didn't know that she knew that we knew. See, this was the dumb shit about it. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, and it was so stupid in the first place anyways. And listen, I just cleared it out, and everybody was they were annoyed, but it probably like lifted the stress off. Everybody showed, oh, we can finally fucking talk about this.
I love that how you take the fact that, I love how you take your selfishness and you spin it into this positive thing.
Because ultimately, in the long run, my selfishness is positive for everybody else. Now, listen, if we ever come into a point where it is not, it is harmful, and I said something, and then like 3 years later, you're like, oh my God, this guy's living on the streets now because you said that. Then I will take that back. All right, I will stop doing whatever I'm doing. But until then, listen, the hard way is the fastest and best way. I know nobody likes that, but it is. And I don't want to. I'm not trying to force this on people. So that's the selfishness, and that's it. I get it. Okay. I guess it's like selfishness and trying to like. I
didn't take that as selfish. Somebody. I just thought that you were just trying to. You're just saying what you believe to be true, which is that, and this is the convenient truth. So we're saying what we believe to be true.
This is why we named this. You know?
This is a convenient truth. Keen.
It's only convenient. It's convenient.
It's convenient for us, I guess maybe.
Yeah, not convenient
for anybody else. No.
Not convenient, but maybe positive in the long run.
All right.
Wow. All right. Well, that was good. So, well, I hope that person listens to this podcast and they'll realize that I'm admitting that I am selfish.
No, I don't want that. I don't give a shit about that, to be honest. What I hope is that I hope that somebody can listen to this and just either like totally like relate to that kind of situation going down, you know? Or I hope the person who is avoidant and may have some idea that they're avoidant, some awareness that they're avoidant, can listen to this and hear it from a different angle and gain some perspective from that. That's what I hope, because we all being avoidant in general and just being dismissive is just not healthy emotionally or mentally, right? So, I mean, that's what I hope. I don't give a shit whether he hears it or not. I just hope that anybody who hears it can. Because the goal is not to fucking make him think that you're really, right? Like, that's not the goal.
To think that what?
To think that you're not selfish. Like, we don't need to change his mind. That's what he thinks.
Oh. I mean, listen, this whole conversation could have gone in a totally different direction too if I had a different mindset, right? You could have been like, when you do this, then you're selfish. And I could have been like, fuck you. No, I'm not. I'm just, that's the way that it should be. And they need to know this information, blah, blah, blah.
You're not.
No, like I'm like, okay, yes. You're right. I can see how somebody can see that I'm selfish in that manner, and I need to take a look at that.
We see that you understand. And
well, I want to make it clear that I understand.
We all see that you are open and willing, and
not all.
Well, we see that right here. We see.
All right. The openness, yeah, it's undeniable. Nobody can say that I'm like not open to. Can they? Maybe that's another thing we need to analyze. Can anybody actually?
If you're selfish, are you open?
I don't know, because I was relating selfishness with the ignorance thing that didn't want to learn.
All right, so here we go.
I don't know. That was my own.
Well, that takes us on a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know, so
do we want to get into that?
Well, we don't really have. It's about to be one, and we're gonna. But right, like just to leave you guys with that thought. If you're selfish, are you then an open and willing person? I think that's.
Well, apparently you can be. I guess.
Voila.
Well, is it selfish if, like, oh my gosh, I get it, but it's ultimately it's.
These are the joys of learning about yourself. It's so exciting.
Right.
But
can you see how this can be now a conundrum in my head, right?
Oh, this is gonna fuck you up. I mean, now you're gonna be like, in your head, you're gonna be thinking
selfish because I just want to, hold on. Now, if we really get into details here, right? Selfish is like, I just for my own personal knowledge, want to know about this. But there's a way bigger thing. It's like, hey, if this person starts talking about this, maybe they can figure something out that they never thought of before, and it can help them out in the rest of their lives and everybody that's connected to them. That's literally kind of how I think, you know. But if I was to think like, I just want to know. I just want to know.
I don't think that necessarily that's selfish. I think that being selfish, though, can also be very discreet. And what I mean by that is there could be situations where, let's say, someone believes that they're doing something or saying something to someone because they think that they're helping and that it will be helpful. That's fucking selfish. You're doing it because you fucking think it will.
Is.
But, you know, like...
But if we had a clinician available at every time I did that, we could explain that actually, if you did have this conversation about your mother and blah, 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 then you might figure out. So see, in my head, you're right. I'm crazy, right? Like I literally know and understand about all these freaking things. Like I see the whole thing. This person, all right, shit, the reason why she's distant with maybe even in some relationships and whatever. I'm not a fucking therapist, but if you're a therapist, such as a clinician, such as I have next to me and telling me about these things all the time, they concur that what I'm saying is true, right?
Yeah, but I don't tell you, I don't really say, this is why, like, people would never think that like, when people meet me and I tell them I'm a therapist, people are like, you're a therapist?
Yeah.
Like, no one really would
you're so good at, like, just separating. And whereas I am, this is me 24/7 all the time. And there's no reason for me to separate. There's a reason for you to separate.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that you could really stress out about and worry about all day long, all kinds of patients and stuff, right? With me, it's just like, all right, I just want to learn and understand everything I possibly can because I'm only here for a short period of time. And this is why I say with this particular person, it's a fucking waste of life. It's wasted time because
But he doesn't see it as
well,
that.
he's like, oh, yeah.
He thinks he's gaining.
Maybe we can come back to this in a couple of years. I was like, you're going to just waste a few more years on what? What are you going to do? Not think about this for 2 fucking years, and then the day we decide to talk about it, you're going to think about it the night before and still be in the same fucking position because you haven't learned anything in the past 2 years?
I'm good.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'm good.
Or we could just do that right now.
Right.
Anyways, we can move on.
Yeah. Well,
What was it? Thanks.
Oh yeah, let's see. Let me go to my. We actually wrote
this.
things. We actually wrote things down.
Because last week I thought the show was really, really crazy. It's a lot all over the place, and so I was like, all this week I've been like, hey, write this down. This topic.
Oh, the portal.
Can we get off the live right now?
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. So you feel comfortable hanging up now?
Yes.
Okay.
The portal. That was the next conversation.
The spy portal?
Yeah, the spy portal. The spy portal.
Speaking of right now with live, okay, just a little tidbit here. Normally, once you do a live, you can download it instantly to your phone. It is not giving me that option any longer.
What?
Yes. Instagram is constantly changing shit. It doesn't let me share things now.
So
like it's like picks and chooses when and the things that I can share and the things I can't share. Like if I went to anybody's page, I may or may not be able to reshare their story. Does anybody else have that, or is that just me?
I'm sorry, what?
I wasn't talking to you anyway.
I was in the middle of a text message.
Okay. Anyways.
But we actually have to wrap up anyway because our little
No, she's not.
lamb chop is getting up.
We only talked about one topic.
For a freaking hour and change.
And it was all about me. It's so selfish.
So selfish. Oh my God. We proved. You know what? I hope he doesn't. You know what?
Right, he's right.
Because if he listens to this, it's just going to validate everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
That's fine. Fine. Validate. Look, all right. So now you validated it. Now let's talk. Look, I admit,
You know what? Yes, I do see how that could definitely come off.
what?
Like, just like when you speak to him now, like, or if you do, because now he doesn't talk to you. Like, I now see why you're saying that I'm selfish.
Why I'm saying that I'm selfish?
Why he's saying you're selfish. You now
Oh,
see
yeah.
it.
No, I understand it now, I guess. I do. But I mean, that's... Okay, whatever.
Joe has to process this more even outside of this podcast.
Yeah.
And then what happens is later on, he's going to talk to me more about it and bring it up more. And then tomorrow, he's going to bring it up again. And then he's going to ask some other friends. And then it's going to be until it really makes sense to him.
Which to me is a great process in which to resolve things, inner conundrums and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Or maybe the best way is for me to never talk about it again and avoid it. That it didn't even happen. That's the best way. Yep. I think that's what I'm going to do because that's going to be great. I won't have to worry about anything. I don't have to think about it. And it won't bother me anymore because I decided not to think about it anymore.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds like the most best way to do it, the most healthiest way to do it, right? Just shut it down.
The most healthiest?
Most healthiest.
I think it's just the healthiest. When you have...
Well, I went over the time one more level.
You wanted to really go.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Okay.
Not just healthiest. No,
Right,
the
right.
most is healthy. The most is
The
healthiest.
mostest healthiest. Whoa. Wow.
I mean, let's. Can we touch on one more topic? I mean, she's still sleeping.
What do you want to touch on?
What's the list?
I mean, we got the portal thing there. We talked about
We did not even.
we
talk
can't
about
do
the
this right now because this is going to take a whole
Oh
other.
man,
There's
can
no
we?
way.
No,
It's
that's
going
the
to take
good
too
one.
long. It's going to take too long.
No, it's fine. What time is it? It's 1:00. You said we're not even leaving till 3.
Yeah, but I need to feed my child and
She's not even awake yet. So you need to prepare mentally.
No, I'm fine. I don't know, guys. You know what? Do you ever like get into a mode where you're just like, all right, I'm talked out? And the great thing about being a self-employed podcaster is that we can end whenever we want.
Right. I can't end this thing being this whole selfish podcast about me. I can't end it like
I
that.
think it's a great place to end, actually.
Which proves that I'm not selfish because I want to continue on and talk about other things that don't involve me.
I think it's a great place to end. Period.
This is
But
such a
actually,
good one.
we're gonna end here. But to be honest, just to give you like a little tidbit on. Well, wait, hold on. What are we having the podcast with?
Yeah, that's next week.
Okay.
That's what. See,
Oh, we can talk about this next week.
yeah, but
And we got David there, which is going to be great.
yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, we got David and Melissa from Mad
David and
Love
Melissa.
by Designs. We got David and Melissa from Mad Love by Design coming on the podcast. They're best amazing friends of mine and Aaliyah's now.
And Soul's
Soul's godfather.
God, I keep
Right.
forgetting not to say her name, but whatever.
Yeah. And they'll be on the podcast next week. We're going to do a t-shirt giveaway, one of their organic U.S. made positive 3-word t-shirts. And then, they have other things too that they're doing as
Yeah,
well.
lots of stuff.
And then also besides that, they're just like super spiritual, knowledgeable.
The energy is
people
great.
that-
Actually, just so that they really understand who's going to be on it, so that we can give them a little just. So these are actually great friends and like best friends, family of my husband, of Joe's. And the first time I met them was at our wedding. Was when they came. So they came to our house a couple days before, and then we all drove to Key West, and that's where Joe and I got married. And the night that we got to Key West was like my friends were putting together this like little like bachelorette thing for me. And they were all at the restaurant where it was going to be. So I had to be, I was going to take a cab or something, right? Or drive there. And then David was like, I guess they set up so that David could pick me up and take me and stuff like that. So this guy, David, who you guys will all meet, came. He met me outside of the hotel and I opened the door and literally walked into like...
In his car.
Yeah, in his car, walked into like the most relaxing, amazing experience. So I get into the car, I sit down in the front seat, and there's sage just burning in the car, right? So sage is burning, it's going, right? So now we got like...
Didn't he have some oil?
Yes,
like,
there was oil
therapy
stuff there. There was a good vibe. He had a very, very soft tone of voice, so it was nice and relaxing because I was stressed out, like I'm getting married, right? Okay. Then as we start driving, he's like, would you like a shot of tequila? He pulls that out from the back, right? Asked me for a shot of tequila. I mean, it literally was. And I was like, oh my God, David, this is so amazing. I'm so stressed out. And he was like, I know. That's why we're here, right? He was the best. So this is the energy, you know?
He had like weed too, probably.
He's just the guy
Whatever
you want. It was amazing. But this is who he is like all the time, I feel like. He just has great energy. So that's who's coming up. And his wife's amazing.
Yeah, so we're excited to have a conversation with them because that could go anywhere.
Yeah. So we'll keep those topics actually for that combo because that's actually a really great one to get into. Yeah. And what the topic is, you guys, just kind of focusing on dopamine levels in your brain and what happens when you get to a point that your brain stops producing dopamine. So, for example, like for people who are drug users, over time, the brain will stop producing dopamine, and you have to now kind of like create it, right? Or kind of like get your brain going so that it can actually produce dopamine, but in different ways, right? Versus drugs, because that was like the only way. So we get into that in terms of how society and all these factors in society, right? Yeah,
like there's so many stimulants in society that are mimicking drugs and the production of dopamine in the brain. And it doesn't even have to be drugs. It could be TV. It could be all the stimulants that are going on in the world and how that's affecting people right now. Yeah.
Right. And shit, man, this just got me on a whole other...
See, we want to talk about it. We can keep going.
No, I know, but seriously, because it just hit me. So basically, for example, if we take social media, right, being on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, as a stimulant, which it is, okay? Let's say I do that all the time. So let's say when I look at my phone activity, right, Instagram... So it says 50 minutes today for Instagram. That's it.
Already?
Oh, is that a lot?
Yeah. I do 60 minutes a day.
Oh my God. So anyway, but I work with people who like, they've had like 11 hours, like Jesus. In a day. We only have, So now it's interesting because let's say if you have really high activity and then you're also experiencing depression.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
This is where we're getting into
now, right, because now what happens.
So we're getting into this conversation, Eric?
No, we're not, but just a little, taste of it. Now it's basically showing, right, that, okay, so me being on Instagram or being on TikTok, right, that's now dopamine's flowing, right? Bam, bam, bam. Pleasure principle. I'm going. I'm hyped. I turn it off. Or let's say someone takes my phone, right? Or something like that. And now I have nothing to do. I can't go on TikTok. And now I'm just there. And I'm blah. And I have no dopamine. And I don't know how to create it because I know nothing else exciting besides TikTok. Because that's what my brain knows, right? And then now I get my phone back and now it's like, bing.
But there's also other things too to shift that, right? Like, I mean, if we're talking about kids, video games, there's TV, there's all these other things. Right. But the problem is, it's like they're not learning to be with themselves and understand themselves. right? I guess that's where I'd like to go with all this stuff. A lot of people don't.
Well, they're not, but also
are
what
taking the time.
but where I want to tie it into is that, so for example, with meth users, okay, so the use of methamphetamine will deplete the amounts of dopamine that your brain produces, okay, so therefore what ends up happening is that the only thing that actually gets the dopamine going is meth. And
then
that's what your brain associates.
And then at some point, it ends up not even being the meth. It's the act of doing the meth, because they're never going to get that same high again. Am I correct?
Well, I'm talking about just like what happens actually in the brain right now in terms of like the chemicals and stuff, right? So basically, let's say I'm a meth user, okay, and my parents like bought me a car, right? And let's say at that moment, I'm not high. I'm just kind of like there, right? Because I haven't gotten high yet. And they're like, oh, we got you a car. A person who, let's say, is not on methamphetamine or who's not a drug user could be really excited by that. I got a car? Yes. Oh my God, it's so exciting, right?
Yeah.
And there's a happy feeling. Someone who's a meth user, it shows in their brain that for those things in life that, let's say, non-meth users or drug addicts would be excited for, they're not.
Like, wow, thanks.
Yeah. And the only thing that really gets the brain going is, in fact, the meth. So what I'm saying about I want to talk about the connection between, let's say, the TikTok and social media and how that's meth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quote unquote.
Right. And then when it's not around or you don't have access to it, you now no longer have that excited feeling, but because you've only been used to one thing giving you that, you don't know how else to receive it. Right. So what ends up happening is it becomes a cycle, which is why people will keep, I'm going to keep because I feel so good when I'm on it, or so elated, or so this, or so that. Anyway, that's kind of what.
Yeah, and we didn't even touch on how, the reason why that happens is because when you have a rush of dopamine, your body instantly goes further. It doesn't go back to the balance point of like normalcy. It has to go beyond that to almost a depressive state to bring you back to the neutral state, right? Mm-hmm. So to counteract the dopamine, it goes into your body, your mind goes into a depressive state instead. And if you do that enough times, you only have either super highs or super lows. You don't have that balance part in the middle anymore until you withdraw for a certain period of time. And that can be different for different people.
Right.
And what we're talking about withdrawal, we're comparing it to drugs right now. But what we're trying to do is compare it to all the stimuli that's happening right now. Your computer, this podcast even, like YouTube, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you're doing all day long that has nothing to do with you actually like focusing on yourself and understanding yourself and growing as a person, then that's a stimuli.
Right.
And we are getting so much of it that when we don't have those things here and there, we are in a depressive state as a culture. Right. So that I want to keep going.
Well, yeah, definitely. We're gonna get into that.
When we bring that up to David and Melissa, man,
it's gonna get.
That could be a 3-hour conversation. Yeah, that podcast.
It might have to be two.
It could be
cut
two
up
parts.
episodes. Yeah,
but,
2 parts.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're gonna head out. We're actually gonna end this on the fact that we're going apple picking, and I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think I've ever actually been apple picking, which is weird. I feel like. Because I lived in Florida for so long.
All right.
Honeycrisp
only. Honeycrisp only.
So I'm excited about that. And then we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Have an amazing day, week, anything.
Yeah. Don't forget to comment and then definitely tune in next week because it's gonna be fire. It's definitely gonna be interesting if you like what we do. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.